Baby boomers. Baby boomers were born between 1946 and 1964, during the largest population surge of the 20th century. In the United States, they number about 75 million people, roughly a quarter of the population. Globally, they represent more than 1 billion individuals, largely concentrated in wealthier nations. Boomers grew up during one of the strongest economic expansions in modern history, when growth felt normal rather than exceptional. Suburbs expanded, wages rose, and owning a home moved within reach of ordinary families. As adults, they entered a labor market that rewarded long careers, seniority, and stability. Over time, this translated into extraordinary financial power. Today, boomers control roughly 70% of total U.S. wealth and more than half of all household assets, more than any generation before or since. Rising home values and access to affordable college, before tuition costs exploded, allowed wealth to grow without heavy debt. Culturally, boomers came of age during civil rights victories, social movements, and rapid technological change. This fostered a strong sense of personal agency and confidence. Career paths opened up, and individual choice mattered more than simply fitting in. Many believed progress was not only possible, but inevitable. A longer life also became possible. Medical advances extended lifespan, and compared to earlier generations at the same age, many boomers report better heart health and lower blood pressure. This longevity created an entire economy built around staying active, independent, and productive later in life, reshaping how aging itself is understood. Abundance came with new pressure. As pensions faded, retirement planning shifted onto the individual, often for the first time. Longer lives mean savings must stretch further, while many now help adult children with housing and support aging parents at the same time. Financial security became something to actively manage rather than assume. Their story is one of expansion, of population, opportunity, and lifespan, and of carrying the weight that comes with it. Generation Alpha. Generation Alpha includes children born between 2010 and 2024, the largest generation ever recorded. With roughly 2 billion people worldwide, they are the first generation born entirely in the 21st century. They're also the first generation raised entirely on iPads and Bluey. Generation Alpha is growing up with material support and technology arriving together. By the end of this decade, their economic influence is projected to exceed $5 trillion, before most of them even reach adulthood. Many are being raised by older, more financially established millennial parents, often with more savings, education, and long-term planning than previous generations had at the same stage of life. This translates into earlier access to healthcare, structured learning, and enrichment. Their minds are shaped by constant interaction with digital systems. Screens are not an add-on to life. They are the environment. From early childhood, learning is visual, interactive, and game-based, making education portable and adaptive from an early age. Researchers expect Generation Alpha to stay in school longer than any generation before them. Nearly half are projected to earn a university degree. Constant exposure to global content also accelerates social awareness, creating children who appear more informed and confident at younger ages. Financial support often comes from multiple directions. Resources flow not only from parents, but also from boomer grandparents, creating a rare concentration of intergenerational support. Brands already design products, platforms, and media around their preferences, treating them as active participants in the global economy long before adulthood. But constant saturation brings new risks. Hours spent on tablets and phones can crowd out unstructured play, physical movement, and face-to-face interaction. Attention spans, patience, and social development may require more intentional support than in previous generations. Managing abundance will require deliberate limits, not just access. Their defining challenge may be growing up surrounded by systems so advanced that learning when and how to use them wisely matters most. Generation Beta. Generation Beta refers to children born roughly between 2025 and 2039, a generation only just beginning to arrive. Early forecasts suggest they could make up around 16% of the global population within a decade, with many likely to live well into the next century. Because Generation Beta has only just begun to arrive, everything we say about them is based on projection rather than lived history. Still, current trends offer a glimpse of the world they may grow up in. Gen Beta is likely to grow up fully immersed from the start. Artificial intelligence may feel less like a tool and more like infrastructure, quietly shaping how they learn, communicate, travel, and receive care. Education may become highly personalized, adapting to individual pace and interests rather than fixed schedules. Learning could feel less like a classroom and more like a continuous, responsive process. Geography may matter less than it ever has before. Digital spaces are expected to make collaboration across countries routine, while culture becomes shaped more by shared interests than physical location. Sustainability may be treated as a baseline expectation, built into systems, rather than left to individual choice. Health monitoring may become part of daily life from an early age. Wearable devices and predictive care could shift medicine toward prevention rather than reaction. At the same time, parents wary of digital saturation may intentionally prioritize outdoor play, movement, and face-to-face connection to preserve balance. This future carries new kinds of uncertainty. Constant personalization may narrow curiosity, while automation could reduce patience for difficulty, delay, and friction. In a world where answers arrive instantly, the ability to sit with uncertainty may become rare. Human skills, empathy, creativity, judgment, may become the clearest forms of distinction. As systems grow more intelligent, these traits may matter more, not less. For Generation Beta, the defining challenge may not be access to intelligence, but learning how to stay human alongside it. Before all of this, before algorithms, before abundance, before choice became endless, there were generations shaped by scarcity. The GI generation learned to endure collapse, war, and uncertainty. Stability was not assumed. It was built slowly, through work, restraint, and shared sacrifice. Right after them, the silent generation stepped into a rare moment of order. Jobs were plentiful, institutions were trusted, and progress felt steady, if quiet. Together, they built the systems that later generations would inherit: pensions, long careers, public trust, and the idea that effort could lead to security. The world has changed since then. Speed replaced patience. Flexibility replaced permanence. Certainty became rare. But the foundation remains. Every generation that followed did not start from nothing. They started from what was built first.